Hey guys, it's Ryan here, and welcome to another episode of Blockchain Markets. And today is really interesting because we're going to talk about a topic that I don't discuss much on the channel, which is on the investment side of cryptos. We all know that lately has been really difficult to get in the ICOs. So then the ones that get in ICOs are mainly, or in many times, pools. And today, to talk about that pools and how to create pools and what that looks like, I'm today here with Mickael, the CEO and co-founder of PrimaBlock. Hi, Mickael.
Hi, Ryan, and hi, the community. Thank you for the opportunity. It's very nice.
No, thank you for taking the time to talk to the blockchain markets community. Before we start, for all you guys the ones that haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe and share the video so more people can know about PrimaBlock and investment in cryptos as well. But for the ones that don't know you in the community, Mickael, can you give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Sure, myself or PrimaBlock directly?
Yeah, maybe we can start with yourself and then we just jump into PrimaBlock.
All right. So my name is Mickael. I'm CEO and co-founder at PrimaBlock. I've been in the startup ecosystem for the last 10 years, involved in most of the latest technological innovations. I worked for a VR company for a while. I've been invested in brain-computer interfaces, which was really, really interesting, as you can imagine. I've been trying to create startups, bootstrap startup, for the last 10 years, either working as a consultant, as a founder, and yeah, it's been quite a ride so far, and PrimaBlock is definitely an interesting experience.
Yeah, definitely. And so then you got more from the startup world, and then you heard about crypto. How was the start of PrimaBlock, and how did you build it?
So myself, I got interested by the blockchain ecosystem a long time ago. I've been out of it though, but I mean, I was a gamer, and as many gamers, I knew about digital currencies, and we were using them in games.
Yeah.
So when I heard about Bitcoin in the early days, I mean, I was mind blowing. So mined a few Bitcoins at the time. Then my computer got formatted, lost everything.
Yeah.
Nowadays I'm crying about it, but hey, that's the game.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty common that I've talked to a lot of friends and that mined at the time, and almost nobody thought that it would be what it is now. So then it's different from these days back. But sorry for interrupting.
No, so I got back into the space late last year, around spring, when I heard about Ethereum. That was the first time I was hearing about programmable money. And as a tech, I have a tech background, a heavy tech background. I realized that, damn, programmable money, we can do a lot of things with that. There's so many middlemen that we can take out of the equation, and so much trust that we can get back. So went back on the crypto scene, started to read a bit more about what was happening, how smart contracts were working. At the time, I had a full-time job in a VR company, so couldn't really dedicate that much. But I started to invest a bit in ICOs, especially a project I was believing in. And that's when, I was part of a private investor group, because it was already starting to be hard to get in at the crowd sale stage. And I didn't have that much time to read all of the white papers. So having a group that helps you go through the sea of different ICOs, it's definitely a good thing. And we were praising blockchain and how smart contracts were helping the world, but we were still investing together the old-fashioned way by sending money inside the wallet of a stranger, hoping for the best, having them handle everything on their own with a spreadsheet. It was crazy, the disconnect between the two. So started working on a smart contract system to make it happen automatically. And then in the same channel, someone else started to do it as well. That was Tamer. And I basically posted a GitHub link to the first initial version of the contract, asking for feedback. got in touch with him. We were doing the same thing, same time, and ended up creating PrimaBlock.
Well, it's really exciting. And yeah, I think that's the best always use case to start solving your own problems, because you know you're the first, you are the target.
Yeah, definitely, and it helps a lot in terms of validation, in terms of understanding exactly what you're fixing.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
even to this day, I'm still a PrimaBlock user.
Yeah, if you're in that investing in pools, and maybe for somebody that has never talked and never heard of pools, and even for somebody that hasn't get very much somebody that hasn't been very much involved in the investment side of crypto, and has heard and read all the, but has never invested it. Maybe if you can walk us through then on how that looks like, and then when in from an investment point of view, and where does PrimaBlock come in?
Yeah, so usually how it works is that an ICO will have a private sale stage where they're going to raise a lot of money through private investors for specific deals. You might have a discount, or you might be able to secure a bigger allocation than in a crowd sale. It's riskier because the project is still, it's still the beginning, so you take more risk, hence the discount. And then they often have a crowd sale stage. So that's the one everybody hears about in the different news channel. And that's what also led to the gas wars, if some of the auditors know about it. So PrimaBlock can be used at any stage, but it's mainly used for the private sale round, where you're going to have a group of private investors pulling money together in a pool, and then sending this money to the ICO. The ICO then send them tokens when they're minted, and the smart contract handle the whole process. Money getting in, me being able to take money out whenever I want until the deal is signed, then the funds getting sent to the ICO, tokens going back, and they get distributed to everybody based on their shares.
Got it. So therefore, from an investor point of view, you get to get in on an earlier stage. Hence, you get a bigger discount on the tokens that you're buying, right?
Yes, exactly.
And from the other side, from a pool manager, maybe you can tell us how it was before PrimaBlock and how it is with PrimaBlock. So that if somebody is planning to start here in the community a pool, or already has a group is doing it, and maybe they can see how they can do it in a much more efficient way.
Yeah, so usually the way it's handled without PrimaBlock is everybody sends money to an address, fills a form like a Google form or a type form saying, that's my address, that's my name, that's my Telegram handle, I'm contributing 10 Ethereum. Then the creator basically has to check all of the transactions coming in and matching them to the data in the form. Then if someone needs to withdraw some of their funds, you need to send them a message, you need to send a transaction back to the person, update the spreadsheet. So that's the first part, gathering fund stage. And then when finally they send the money and get the token back, they need to split the tokens once again, input the amount in the spreadsheet, get all of the amount per contributor, then do a transaction one by one. I mean, you can see you're really limited in the number of participants.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of want not to the token sale not to be successful, so you don't have to do the distribution afterwards.
Exactly, and in the end, I can't tell you how many times I heard about issues like, oh man, wrong token shares. So please, everybody, can you send me back the tokens? I need to distribute them again. Which, as you can imagine, 99% of the time doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. So as I said before, if there's anybody here that one of the questions that I got from the community, I have a few, is if I want to start investing on a pool, do you guys have any suggestions, or you rather don't say anything and then let people look on Google or ask for themselves somewhere else?
So that's a question we often have, and we're trying to be, we are a completely compliant and legal company. And so that's one of the reasons why so far we haven't done any kind of publicity concerning the syndicates, because we needed a way to vet them, to ensure that they were legal on their side. So we prefer not to touch that front. But it's going to change. Now that we have more information about our users, that we know that some of them moved to a completely legal setup, we're going to be able to provide a public listing of pools and syndicates on PrimaBlock. And that's going to come out in the couple of days, weeks stuff.
Oh, it's really cool. Something else that another question I got from the community is that when you get on an ICO stage, then you have to go through KYC process. And how does that look like in the previous stage using PrimaBlock? Is that up to the pool organizer, or how does that look like?
So up to this point, it was up to the creator of the pool to do their own KYC on the side, and that was a big pain point. So in fact, right now we have the beta of the KYC pools, so the creators can choose to enable KYC as well as restricting to specific countries based on the ICOs, and then the users can go through KYC on PrimaBlock. It's handled internally. They have to do it only once, and they can participate in a KYC pool.
Cool. So they can basically say that from which countries I'm accepting, and if I want to go through if I want people to submit the KYC.
Exactly, and we don't have just plain and stupid KYC. I mean, it took us 5 months, I believe, to get KYC integrated because there was a lot of research, a lot of misinformation in the space, and fake companies doing KYC, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
So it took a long time, but we also, we're doing KYC and anti-money laundering, and we're fully compliant with the 5th AML directive. But not even all countries in Europe are compliant with yet.
And by the way, are you located in Sweden? Are you incorporated in Sweden?
So the company is incorporated in Estonia. It's publicly available on the internet, but the team is decentralized as a blockchain. We have people in Sweden, in the US, in France, a bit all over Europe and the Western world.
Cool, cool. And you guys are doing it for like the part of AML and KYC. Is it proprietary, or are you partnering with something like Civic or Self-Key or something?
So we have a third-party provider for parts of it, but the whole process itself, the review, because there's one thing to understand is that in Europe, if you want to do a legal compliant KYC, the company running the KYC should be the one reviewing all of the documents and taking the decision. That's what a lot of people in the space don't know, and basically the KYC they're doing is not compliant at all. So this whole process is done by PrimaBlock, by the team internally. In fact, right now it's the 2 co-founders, we're taking care of it ourselves, and then we're going to teach the rest of the team once we have more experience.
Cool. Yeah, well, that's very interesting to know, because there might be a lot of projects also in now that you mentioned Europe that they don't know they're not complying actually by doing that. They should, but many projects they don't. Now we are moving forward. Maybe you can tell us a bit of where you now and where's the roadmap for the coming quarters, and then we can discuss more the long-term overview.
Yeah, sure. So so far we've been really amazed at how people are using PrimaBlock. So it went from small groups of 10, 20 investors to no huge syndicates of more like 6,000 users.
Wow.
I'm amazed by the impact that PrimaBlock had on the space and the ecosystem. It wouldn't have been possible without it, and now we're seeing those huge syndicates. It's really nice. For the users themselves, it's really good to have that power in numbers, basically.
Yeah.
So we're also starting to see more ICOs that want to use PrimaBlock contract itself. So they list their ICO pre-sale directly on PrimaBlock, so that they don't have to take care of the security and the technology associated with the contract.
Oh, that's interesting, because then it's also a problem solver for them.
Yeah, definitely, especially with no the KYC option, because users were getting tired of filling KYC everywhere, and
that's true.
there's no
And
point
you
in
especially
sharing.
see it like once you did it and then they had to distribute the token. I've had that many times as an investor, that I have to just wait and wait, and then they keep on sending emails saying we're going through the KYC AML, and then another one, and it's taking longer and longer, and people start getting frustrated. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's a good use case. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things we want to help with in the short term, but we're also focused on increasing and improving the user experience. PrimaBlock, I mean, started as an MVP, and there was so much to do on the background tech that we didn't have that much time to focus on the user experience itself. And it's still pretty bare. I mean, it's difficult to do a decentralized solution with the same user experience as a centralized one.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're going to spend a bit more time on that, and we have a few updates coming up in the next days. And I was working on it before that call, so keep it tuned there. And in the more midterm, we want to make the platform a bit more social and help the users decide if they can trust the creators of the pools.
Yeah.
If they can trust the entities behind it. So with more statistics, as I was saying, we're going to have public listing coming up. They're going to be able to check the creator statistics, how many pools they created, how much Ethereum they raised, if those pools were successful or did they scam people in the end.
Yeah. So there's a review system at least.
Yeah, more transparency on that front. And after that, we have plans. Compared to most companies in the blockchain, we don't have a definite roadmap. We have an internal roadmap, of course.
Yeah.
A public one, not necessarily, because we believe in fast iteration.
Yeah.
So based on the user's needs, we think what's the most important for them right now. We iterate on that, and then we do it again and again and again.
Yeah, more the lean approach. And which makes sense, I think, especially in this industry where everything is just like 1 month is like one whole year. it doesn't make much sense to plan for the next 5 years. Why? You don't know how it's going to be next month.
Yeah, I mean, for some low tech projects, I mean, chain themselves, it makes sense so that the other people know how they can build on top of it in the long term. But yeah, for everything that is related to that is like an app, it's tough to know beforehand. I mean, you have to see how people use it and what they want.
Exactly. One other question that before I forget is now you're working with smart contracts, with Ethereum smart contracts, and are you planning also to add other platforms in the near future? Yes,
we're in talk with a few of them right now. I can't give names yet, but big ones, smaller ones, and we're going to integrate in different steps. We're going to integrate new blockchains so that the distribution of tokens can happen on new chains, and potentially the idea is to from anywhere to everywhere, so you can participate with anything and get your tokens on anything.
Cool. The other question I had is, you mentioned now that some of the users or the pools were big syndicates that you didn't expect in the beginning. But how does that look like at the moment? It's like mainly like mid-size, or like the smaller pools that are that have like 1,000 users, or
yeah, I mean, we see pools from just 2 or 3 users. Even myself, sometimes I run pools with just a few friends, and we also see pools with 1,000, 2,000 contributors.
Wow.
Usually, I mean, they could go higher than that, but usually someone fills it before the new guys can come in. So
yeah, exactly. And yeah, do you guys have as a manager of a pool, what are the requirements that somebody that is listening now would like to start a pool with PrimaBlock?
So it depends on your country. That's something you need to check with your lawyers. If it's something, I mean, it also depends what you're going to pool for. If you're going to pool for a security token and you're in the US, then yeah, you will have to set up a company to have accredited investor check, which we don't have yet, but are going to come.
Yeah.
Start with KYC and then accredited investors. But if you're just doing a pool for utility token between friends in some jurisdiction, as long as there's no profit, then there's nothing special to do. It's like if you were just pooling for your grandma's birthday, which they can also do on PrimaBlock if you want. You don't necessarily need
a special grandma's pool.
But so the best is to check with your lawyers. We can, they can contact us. We can help with the jurisdictions we have experience with. Yeah, don't rush in if you're not sure. It's handling money.
Yeah.
There is the way for the creator of the pool to lock the destination address, which means that in theory, they never, ever have access to the funds, which means there's no custody, which makes it way lighter in terms of legislations all around the world. But still, it's better to contact us and contact their own lawyers to be sure.
Yeah, that's very important because then, yeah, what you mentioned, because then as a pool manager, you want to not to carry all the weight of the things that you don't even know in terms of law. So then, yeah, for all you guys that are listening, I think the best, as you said, Mickael, that is to just contact you guys if you have any questions. You can go to the website. I'll leave a link in the description, and there's a pretty long list of frequently asked questions. So if you don't get the answers from there, I suggest you go first there, and then you ask if you didn't get the answer on the FAQ. So you don't overload with work, with the necessary work, the team. Sorry.
We're always available on Telegram to have a one-to-one conversation. And so any time of the day, usually we have someone 24/7.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Free to reach out.
That's even better, even more immediate. Well, I think like I went through almost all the questions that I had. I don't know if there's anything else that you would like to mention that we haven't touched upon until now.
Probably a lot, but if I were to leave the community with one thing is, if you have any ideas and you think the technology we built can help the community in other ways, let us know. We didn't do PrimaBlock for the money. We don't even take a salary ourselves, the founder. It's just to give back to the community and help out. So if there's any other way we can use that tech to help even more, let us know.
Cool. You heard, guys, if you have any use cases that you think that, any scenarios that you think that PrimaBlock would be good to use for, just let them know in the social media channels, or you can also leave it in the comments here in YouTube, and I'll let them know. Well, with that said, I'd like to thank you very much, Mickael, for your time. Yeah, and I hope that we can have a catch-up conversation in a few months to see where PrimaBlock is doing.
Yeah, thank you for your time, Ryan, and it was really a pleasure. We'd be up for a catch-up conversation.
Awesome. So thank you, everybody on the blockchain markets community, and I'll see you in the next interview. Cheers. Bye, guys.